Now, okay, I hope it's working. I hope it's working. Want to see? Okay, stream. Can I see myself, please? I want to see myself. Okay, when I'm doing create, I'm doing this one. And I can see that I'm half in my live stream here. And now everything is working. Everything is set up. Okay, awesome. I just apologize for this inconvenience. Okay, let's jump into today's streams. So, the teacher in the school was very nice to Kate. As Kate was really skillful when it comes to Japanese. She was really good and better than the average student when it comes to Japanese. She had actually no problems with any problems with communications, and indeed she has used more like academic phrases, academic idioms that people are actually rarely using in normal Japanese life. So the teacher also kind of not understand everything, but mostly she understand her, because I mean some of these phrases they just didn't taught. I mean they're somewhere in a dictionary. Why actually Kate knew it? Because she used to be really into quiz shows, and they have actually those in Japanese quiz shows. They use kind of this really hyper things where people just from Tokyo University can read it, and so on. And the teacher told to her, "Hey Kate, I totally understand, and I totally understand that you speak in perfect Japanese. It's perfect Japanese what I'm doing. And the thing is, you're using too complicated words. You're using words like freaking professors in university. And I mean, it's okay, it's good, but those kind of words has to be appropriate. And believe me, right now, I'm the only person who kind of understand what you're telling about, but more than 90% of the class don't. So, if you don't mind, and please don't understand myself wrong, don't get me wrong, perfect Japanese doesn't mean you just bombarding someone with high academic words and idioms. It means that you are using the words that you know appropriately to the environment you're in. And then Kate actually started off to use Japanese more normally, not in this kind of way, like, using just freaking idioms that nobody understands. I mean, people can do it. Hey, Jean-san, 久しぶり. And basically, what she did in the first week, I mean, it was most the funnest week, but on the flip side, it was also for her the most tedious week. It was frustrating, the most stressful week for Kate, because, well, she has to sign the friggin' papers, and she knew it, and because she did also some research. So what she did, the first thing after school, she just went to the freaking stamp shop and bought a stamp in order to sign the freaking papers, because in Japan you need a stamp. People don't believe your sign, but they believe your stamp that you can buy for $3. Yes. And she bought a stamp. She bought a stamp for her to be more in accordance to the rules. And basically what she had to do is to work to freaking Kabukicho every single day, because the city hall was in Kabukicho for Shinjuku. So every single day she walked there, and, well, she had to sign many papers. Really, she had to write her own address at least 30 times so she could actually remember her address and her own phone. But before the phone, she needed a phone. So first things first, what she did is she had to enter. I mean, if you haven't been in Japan, first things first, you have to be registered as you are there as a student. If you filled out the registration form, which is like 3 times in a row or 4 times in a row, depends. I believe when I've been in Japan, I need like 4 times. Because I don't have this papers there copy through. You have to fill it out. Now the next one you have to do is to enter the 国民健康保険. You have she also did it. She had to enter the insurance, the health insurance. And the health insurance works so if you go to a doctor, you have to pay just 30% of the whole fee, which is pretty good. So 70% is paid by this insurance, but you have to pay for the insurance once a year, I believe $100, something like that. And then this is just two things. Then you have also to kind of say, okay, I have also like a paper that you are living there, that shows that you are living there, because I don't believe that it's in your passport. They also have to make a passport for the residence card for you. Before that residence card, you get a paper that you walk in. You have to take it with you, otherwise you can be caught by a police officer, and it can be really sketchy. Once you get the card and your thing, you have and your insurance thing, you have to buy a mobile phone. But before you buy your mobile phone, you have to enter a bank. You have to have a bank account. And most schools are advising you to have the Pass bank account, but this actually is the worst one because you have the most commission fees. So Kate did actually her own research to see what kind of bank has the less commission fees when it comes to when she is working in a part-time and when she will get her pay. So she has paid the less commission fees as she can for the bank. And it turns out that this Tokyo Mitsubishi USJ Bank, and basically when she had everything there, next thing what she needed is a mobile phone. Yes, a mobile phone, because without a mobile phone you cannot apply for a job, basically, right? And then you have to buy a mobile phone. And most schools are advising you to have SoftBank because it is more convenient, but the thing is, most companies are not using SoftBank but Docomo, because back 30 years ago it used to be a monopoly, and this converted to Docomo, and then they split it up to SoftBank and so on. The Docomo is still there. So they are basically, she had to find out what's the best for her. She got to Docomo, and then we have another thing. Thank you for watching, Louis Edwards. And then Kate has to do another thing, which is getting the permission to work in Japan. Really hard thing, though. I mean, you have to get the permission to work in Japan. It has to be. Thank you for watching, Willa Reese. She has to get a permission to work in Japan, which is like on the flip side of your Zairyu Kado, of your card of residence. In Japan, you have to also the permission, and you have also to sign again 4 or 5 papers. Again, you write your whole thing. You write your whole phone number. You write where you're living, where you're from, what's your name, and so forth, every single time for 4 or 5 times, in which kind of school you're in, what's the address of the school you're in, and so forth. And I mean, I have been in Japan, and I know that, hell, Japanese bureaucracy, I saw German bureaucracy is really harsh, but boy, you haven't been in Japan. Japanese bureaucracy is hell. I guarantee you. Another thing is, they have this kind of fees that you don't understand why they're actually booking money from you, taking money from you. If you understand Japanese and kind of read all these fees that you have to pay, especially, I mean, also what Kate does, she had also to pay a fee, a freaking fee for the commission to have the allowance to live in this apartment. It's a dorm she is living. And this kind of allowance is 4 times. Again, 4 times of the normal rent she pays every single month. Okay? 4 freaking times. Depending on the place, it might be also 6 or 8 times. So she had paid 4 times. 4 times $600. Close to 700. Pretty much, right? So she had to pay it in order to get the allowance. Otherwise, she had to go back to her country. Now she paid it. She did everything. And now she is set. But the thing is, your problem wasn't the Japanese. It wasn't the Japanese. In fact, when she has been there were someone who was helped from school to help her to fill the forms in case she didn't understand it. And she wasn't alone there. There were many students there who also were helped. But as she already know her Japanese pretty well, she didn't need the help. The only thing that she has, that's the only thing that was a pain in the neck for her. To write all these freaking kanjis every single day for 10 times ish. And this is the first week. This is the first week, guys. So, same here. If you want to go to Japan sometimes, and live in Japan, beware. Japanese democracy. Japanese bureaucracy is hell. But they want to get rid of the stamp, by the way, because some people see this idea of a stamp pretty stupid. Because so many people thought like, hey, I mean, like back in Japan, they thought like, hey, you cannot copy a stamp, but you can copy a freaking sign, which is pretty ridiculous. And many people start to understand that a sign is more powerful than a stamp ever can be. Because you can buy a stamp with freaking donkey for $2. A sign you cannot buy, right? And this was the only problem, the bureaucracy. Because his speech was also pretty good. So many people, when you have heard how she speak, because she could speak without any accent, she would say, I mean, you speak like a freaking Japanese person. If you put on a mask on your face, it looks like you're Japanese. If you just someone listen to your speech. This is what happened. So yeah, guys, beware Japanese bureaucracy. If you want to go just there for a trip, no props. You don't need to sign a lot of paper. Okay, you have to sign a paper when you are arriving in Japan. You have to write a form where's your residence and what's the purpose of your arriving in Japan. If you're a tourist, you have to write which kind of hotel you will be staying in, because you have to pre-book it. You cannot. I don't think you can arrive in Japan before pre-booking something. Or if you have some friend to stay, you have to write the friend's address. So beware, guys. Be freaking aware. I have been there. I know where it is. Japan is fun, but it's not fun to moving. It's not fun to send some money to someone in a different country. Even with freaking Western Union, it will take you 2-3 hours. Here in Germany, maybe 30 minutes. Once I have been in Japan, I tried to to change money in a bank. It took 4 hours. It took 4 hours to change freaking 50 euros into yen. 4 hours. I have to sign like 3 or 4 papers each. So sometimes it's easier to get just your credit card and pull the money out of the freaking 7-Eleven. It's the easiest way to get money from, but not to have currency and change it. I mean, there are some currency changing spots. They look some sketchy, but believe me, it will be faster than in a bank. In a bank, they will ask you why you need to change this money. You have to write it down why you need to change this money. You have to write down where you want to use this money. It sounds freaking stupid, but it's a rule. Some of Japanese rules are just not really comprehensive at all. You do not understand why they are from a Western perspective. You do not understand it. But the thing is, when you understand them, there's still some barrier that you don't want to adopt them. But the thing in Japan, obey or go home. That's the only rule. So beware. Have an awesome day and see you on Friday.